Welcome back, everyone. If you were with us for part one, you already know that success is not an accident. It is not something that falls into the laps of the lucky few while the rest of us watch from the sidelines. Success is built brick by brick, decision by decision, habit by habit. And today, in this second chapter of our conversation, we are going to go deeper. We are going to talk about the things that separate those who almost make it from those who actually do. We are going to talk about the truths that most people are not willing to hear, let alone act on. Let us begin with something that might surprise you. One of the greatest secrets to success is learning how to be comfortable with being misunderstood. When you decide to chase something big, when you set goals that stretch beyond what is considered normal or reasonable, people around you will not always understand. Your family might worry. Your friends might question your choices. People who love you deeply might look at your ambitions and see risk where you see opportunity. And that is okay. That is part of the journey. The moment you start making decisions based on what other people think of you, you hand over the steering wheel of your life to someone who does not even know your destination. History is filled with people who were misunderstood, mocked, or dismissed before they were celebrated. The inventors, the pioneers, the artists, the entrepreneurs who changed the world were rarely applauded at the beginning. They were doubted. They pressed forward anyway, not because they were reckless, but because they had a clarity of vision that most people around them could not yet see. If you are being misunderstood right now, do not take it as a sign to stop. Take it as a sign that you are probably on to something real. Now let us talk about something even harder. Let us talk about the relationship between success and sacrifice. There is a version of success that is sold to us through highlight reels and polished social media posts that makes it look effortless. You see the result, the wealth, the recognition, the freedom, but you do not see the years of grinding, the sleepless nights, the missed birthdays, the moments of crippling self-doubt that came before it. Real success demands real sacrifice. Not the kind that destroys your health or alienates everyone who loves you, but the kind that requires you to consistently choose long-term gain over short-term comfort. This means saying no to things that feel good right now because you are committed to something that will feel even better later. It means choosing the hard conversation over the easy silence. It means sitting down to do the work when every part of you wants to rest, to scroll, to distract yourself with something easier. Sacrifice is not glamorous. Nobody's going to applaud you for the nights you stayed in while others went out. Nobody is going to notice the hours you spent studying your craft while others were watching television. But those invisible hours, those quiet sacrifices, are the foundation upon which every visible success is built. Here is the next secret, and it is one that transforms everything once you truly understand it. Your identity shapes your outcomes more than your actions do. You can have all the right strategies, all the right information, all the right tools, but if your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are, does not align with the level you are trying to reach, you will self-sabotage every time. People do not rise above their self-image for long. They might have a breakthrough moment, a big win, a sudden leap forward, but if deep down they still see themselves as someone who struggles, someone who does not deserve abundance, someone who always falls short, they will find a way to return to that familiar level. This is why so many people win the lottery and lose everything within a few years. This is why some people keep repeating the same patterns in business, in relationships, in health, no matter how many times they start fresh. The problem is never just the circumstances. The problem is the identity running underneath those circumstances. So the work of success is not just external, it is deeply internal. You have to become, on the inside, the person who deserves and can sustain the life you are working toward on the outside. Start telling yourself a different story. Not a fantasy, not a delusion, but a narrative that moves you toward possibility rather than away from it. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you deeply believe in, because that kind of internal dialogue rewires the way you see yourself and eventually the way the world sees you too. Let us move to the concept of environment, because this is one of the most underestimated forces in any success journey. You can have the strongest willpower in the room, but if the room is working against you, your willpower will eventually run out. Human beings are extraordinarily social and environmental creatures. We absorb the moods, habits, beliefs, and expectations of the people around us and the spaces we inhabit, often without even realizing it. If you are surrounded by people who see limitation everywhere, who normalize mediocrity, who respond to your dreams with skepticism and fear, their energy will seep into you. Not all at once, but gradually, quietly, it will chip away at your belief and your drive. This is not about cutting people off coldly or thinking you are better than anyone. It is about being intentional. It is about understanding that proximity is powerful and choosing your inner circle with the same care you would choose a business partner or a surgeon. Find people who are further along the path than you and learn from them. Find people who challenge you to think bigger. Find people who celebrate your wins without jealousy and who tell you the truth when you need to hear it. And when you cannot find those people in your immediate life, find them in books, in podcasts, in interviews, in communities built around growth. Feed your mind with the right voices and watch how gradually, powerfully, your own voice begins to change. Now, I want to speak about failure, not as something to be avoided, but as something to be understood and even respected. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has a collection of failures behind them. Not in spite of their success, but as a fundamental part of it. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the curriculum of success. It is how you learn what does not work so you can get closer to what does. It is how you build resilience, sharpen your judgment, and develop the kind of character that can actually handle success when it arrives. The problem is not failure itself. The problem is how we interpret failure. When we treat failure as evidence that we are not good enough, not smart enough, not meant for something greater, we let it close doors instead of open them. But when we treat failure as information, as feedback, as a necessary part of the education we are receiving on the way to where we want to go, everything shifts. The question stops being, why did this happen to me? And starts being, what is this teaching me and how do I use it? That shift in question is one of the most powerful mental moves you can make. Let us also talk about consistency, because in a world obsessed with overnight success and instant results, consistency is radically undervalued. The most successful people in any field are rarely the most talented people in that field. They are the most consistent. They show up when they do not feel like it. They do the work when there is no applause, no reward, no external validation waiting for them. They understand that progress compounds, that each small action adds to the one before it, and that over time, consistent small efforts produce extraordinary results. Think about water carving through rock. It does not do it with force. It does it with persistence, day after day, the same gentle pressure until eventually the rock gives way. Your daily habits are that water. Your goals are the rock. You do not need to be dramatic about it. You do not need to revolutionize your entire life in a single weekend. You need to decide what matters and then show up for it every single day, even in small ways, even on hard days, even when the results are not yet visible. There is another secret that successful people know deeply, and that is the power of clarity. Vague goals produce vague results. When you say you want to be successful or wealthy or happy or healthy, without defining what those words actually mean to you in concrete, specific terms, you are essentially asking your life to take you somewhere without giving it an address. Your mind needs a target. The clearer and more specific your target, the more efficiently your mind can orient itself toward it, notice opportunities align with it, and keep you moving in the right direction even when the path gets difficult. Write down what you want, make it specific, make it measurable, attach it to a timeline, and then go a step further. Ask yourself why you want it. Not the surface level reason, but the real one underneath. Because purpose is the fuel that keeps you going when strategy alone is not enough. When your goal is connected to something that genuinely matters to you, something that feeds your sense of meaning, you will find reservoirs of energy and motivation that you did not know you had. Purpose turns a goal into a calling, and a calling is much harder to abandon than a goal. I also want to speak about the courage to invest in yourself, because too many people treat self-investment as a luxury when it is actually the highest return decision you can make. Investing in your education, your skills, your health, your mental clarity, your personal development is not spending money or time. It is planting seeds. Everything you learn, every skill you develop, every limiting belief you overcome, every mentor you learn from, every book that shifts your perspective, it all compounds. It all adds to the version of you that will eventually show up and create the life you are working toward. Never wait until you can afford to invest in yourself. Start where you are with what you have. Read voraciously. Listen to people who have done what you want to do. Take the course if you can. Attend the event if you can. And if you cannot, find free resources, find mentors and books, find communities online. The commitment to keep growing, to never stop learning, to never let comfort become your ceiling, that commitment is itself one of the most powerful success habits you can develop. Finally, I want to close with something that ties everything together, and that is the secret of service. The most enduring success is not built on taking, it is built on giving. It is built on solving problems, on adding value, on making a positive difference in the lives of others. When your ambition is connected to service, when what you are building genuinely helps people, genuinely solves something that matters, genuinely makes the world a little better, you tap into a source of motivation and meaning that is almost inexhaustible. And beyond the personal reward of it, service-oriented success tends to be more sustainable, more respected, and more fulfilling than success that is purely self-serving. Ask yourself regularly, who am I serving with this work? What problems am I solving? How is what I am building making someone else's life better? Let those questions guide your decisions and your direction, and you will find that success, real success, the kind that feels as good on the inside as it looks from the outside, begins to feel not just possible, but inevitable. So as we close this chapter, remember this: success is not a destination. It is a way of moving through the world. It is the identity you build, the habits you keep, the sacrifices you choose, the failures you learn from, the people you surround yourself with, and the purpose you carry in your chest, even on the days when nothing seems to be working. Keep going. Keep growing. The best of what you are capable of is still ahead of you.